so I brought my buddy and my sidekick along with me out here in the desert. We're here to spend a day to start a trip, and what I want to do is go over some of the mods, the things I've done to make this truck a little bit more overlanding, camper type, topper friendly, and that's why we're here. So I want to be able to do that with you, and we're going to spend the night. We just found this campsite, and it looks pretty darn good. Called Peralta Road. We're off of it on a little two-track trail, and we're up on a bit of a rise, and there's quite a view up here. And we'll show you some of the mountains around here, and how it might be a little chilly out here tonight, but that's all right. We could be pretty warm in the old topper. But I want you to see a little bit of the country that we have to deal with here. It's harsh, but it's beautiful. And I've got little Jor with me, so we should have a good time and set up a nice, comfortable camp for the night. Well, Jor, should we get situated, and so we can get some of the chores done? Looks like we need to gather a little bit of firewood if we're going to have a fire. You up for that? Are you up for that, little guy? I know, you don't like the bugs. Wow, just as we started this segment, the sun has come out. We're going to spend some time today answering some of the questions that some of you have asked me, either through email or comments on the various videos that I've posted so far. Answer questions about some of the modifications I've made to this top-up, the topper that's on the pickup, and how you might be able to do a similar type of items. I want to point out, however, that my need or uses for this pop-up might be different than yours. I have to take the topper off to pull a fifth wheel and to put the fifth wheel hitch in, and I need to do that every summer when I move my fifth wheel into the camp. Another reason I use the pickup is to pull the pop-up. I rebuilt a pop-up camper over the last summer. I've made a few videos of that, and I'll list them in the description below. If I'm setting up a base camp for a longer period of time, then I might pull the pop-up trailer camper that we have. I made a video of that earlier. I'll list that in the description below if you'd like to look at it. I use it sort of as a base camp for some hikes that I plan to do, and also as a base camp for some of the locations I go with other family members who are more comfortable in the pop-up than they might be camping, backpacking, I should say. And I also use it to carry my kayak. So if I'm going to bring my kayak, I will probably bring the pop-up, because it's darn hard anymore for me to get that kayak on top of this topper. So with that in mind, the way I use my topper and pickup might be different than what you're doing. I don't full-time in it, though I think I could. I use it generally for longer trips where I want to cover more ground, do some overlanding, and not spend so much time in camp itself, and just set up a quick camp for the night. Or I might use it, as I said, if I'm using the truck to pull one of the other RVs, I guess you would call them, that I use. Around to the front of the truck and look at basically the lights and a little bit of the paint job that I've done. Previous video, I actually went into a lot of detail about these lights, and I'll put that in the description below as well, so you could check that out if you'd like. But these are simply lights from Walmart. They're called Alpenas, A-L-P-E-N-A, and I have two sets on the front of the truck. The ones down here, these are both two-directional. They go forward and also off to the side a bit. And then also, these smaller spotlights I have mounted up on the hood. Also Alpenas, also from Walmart. And they are on a bracket that, yeah, you guessed it, also Alpena, also from Walmart. And here's the bracket right down in here. It just clamps onto the lip of the hood. And I've had them on now for, oh gosh, about 2 months, and they've been quite sturdy. Worked out real well. You may have also noticed on the front, it's certainly rather more cosmetic than anything. But I painted the grille, just a flat black semi-gloss. And also the bumper down here, which is painted with a bedliner type paint. Both of these paints come from Home Depot. And it's a cosmetic, but I like the looks. And it's something that's quite easy to do, and if they do get nicked up, they're easy to refresh. Now, I also have done, as I mentioned, another video about all of the lights. So let's take a look at that clip, and I'll show you how they, in the dark, how they work. This is from the previous video, but it gives you a good idea of how these lights work. Try to show you the difference in my lights. I'm standing next to the driver side and have the truck running. This is the regular lights, driving lights. And there we have the brights on. And this is the lower lights. You can see that adds a little bit to the front, but I have them down toward the road a little more than out for the distance. I want to see critters on the road, particularly here in the desert. And I'm going to turn that off. And now we'll go with the spotlights. And it's sort of hard to see, but you can see to the left and the right that they are lighting up quite a bit more on that side. And with both of them on, it's pretty amazing. So that gives you an idea how these inexpensive Alpena lights work from Walmart. I'm very happy with them, particularly for the cost and the ease in installing. Let's move from the front of the truck to the back of the truck, and I'll show you what I've done back there. One thing you might notice, this is not the normal inside of the tailgate. I have covered this with this piece of, well, actually it was a 4x8 sheet of a paneling type thing, but it's sort of a plastic. It's used to cover walls and etc. I used it in a home project that we had going. It does a good job of covering this, making it smooth all over, and it lets me clean it real easily. You may have also noticed this cover. This is really nice. It helps keep the heat inside if it's cool at night, and also the bugs out. So I put it up early because last time we were up here, it was terrible for bugs, and I don't like them. And Jorah can't stand them. So it goes up very simply. I just cut it to the shape, the approximate shape of the opening, and used a Velcro tape which I have glued onto the material. And then since the topper itself has a rug covering inside, it just sticks up there to it, and it works out quite well. If you have followed any of the other overlanding truck topper builds, you probably have noticed a lot of the fellas and gals have been using the drawer systems that pull out under their bed, and they're beautiful. They work real well, but they're also expensive. And as I mentioned earlier, this is, well, sort of a semi-permanent, temporary type setup that I'm using off and on. So this is what I've done. Under the bed, I use this drawer system that is made to go under a bed. Brilliant. But the lid is hinged in the center, and I'm able to put in all my stuff that I need. All my cooking gear is in here. Comes out, I grab what I need, and then move on and just put it all away. Inexpensive. Again, Walmart, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10 bucks maybe. But it works quite well. Keeps everything together. I hope it's an idea that you can use. Now normally I use a larger 2-burner or 3-burner, I guess it is, Coleman stove. I store it in the back of the truck, in the back seat, and I'll show you the inside of the truck later on, how that all is all put together. But today I'm using this little backpacking stove, and it's going to heat up some burger and some kale and have a quick little dish made right here in the back of the truck. Well, Jar's resting over here, little buddy, having a little bit of a rest. Not that he ever really works too hard. I'm going to go ahead and get dinner started. A little good lean burger and kale. A healthy dish. A little salt and pepper, paprika, garlic salt, and soy sauce, and it's ready to go. Inside the carport at home because it was quite windy outside and I didn't think we'd be able to hear very well. But let's look up on the roof. I'll show you what we've done up, what I've done up there. The crossbars on the roof are just something I've adapted from previous use, and they're through bolted and rather secure. And to them, this is on the driver's side, I have mounted a long PVC pipe right in here. It's mounted all the way along between the two, and attached to that PVC pipe on the end of it, and I have it secured with this budgie, is another pipe that pulls out with a loop on the end, and I use that for hanging a lantern when we're at camp. Also, you'll see secured to at the top is a small shovel as well as an axe. Passenger side of the roof is a basket. This basket that I have made out of a shelving unit that I bought at Home Depot, I believe, and it was white. You see them at Home Depot, sometimes Walmart, etc. And I bent it into this V shape to serve as a basket, and it's bolted to these PVC pipes that are attached to the crossbars, and I've just used some sheet metal screws to screw this angled basket in, and I use that for my traction boards and there's room there to put other things in as well. Both the traction boards and the equipment on the other side are secured with cable locks, as well as some bungee cords that help them stay in there. Back over here to the driver's side, I forgot to mention this long tube you see. That contains, I think, about 4 different fishing rods that I like to keep with me. I try to keep most all of my outdoor gear in the topper on the truck, so I have various items with me at all times. I never know exactly what I'm going to need to use on a trip, and that way it's all there. Well, let's start off at the back of the truck, the tailgate, and work our way forward under the topper to the cab. The first item that you'll notice here is the battery. There's one battery here, and then behind those propane tanks, there's another battery. They're hooked together. They're both RV batteries, and they are 100 amps each, and they power, well, pretty much all my camera gear, also the 12-volt blanket, as well as the phone when I need that charged. The extra propane tanks are ones that I've refilled myself, and they'll obviously for the stove, and also for Mr. Heater, who we'll look at next. Mr. Heater lives on a little shelf right above the batteries. This shelf is on a hinge, so once I take Mr. Heater off, it folds up so I can get to the batteries to charge the batteries. Mr. Heater is hooked in, as you see, or my buddy, I guess his name is hooked in with a bungee cord, which obviously comes off when we use it, but it holds it in place as we travel. Next is sort of the heart of electronics, such that they are. This is wired into the battery, and I can use this off-on switch to power on the light, and also to check on the battery voltage. And then next to that is a 12-volt connector, which I have plugged in a charger for the cell phones, battery banks, etc. As I mentioned earlier, I like to keep a lot of my outdoor gear almost permanently in the topper, at least for the winter season. And there's a shelf below the battery bank, or below the battery controller. I keep one of my tackle boxes. Next to the controller is a small shelf that folds down, held up by a chain. And this is quite handy sometimes in the morning if I don't want to cook outside. I can just fire up my stove right in this area, my little backpacking stove, and boil water, make some instant coffee, whatever. This basket holds a lot of my extra radios, my 4-service radio, ham radio, handheld, and another family service radio. On the shelf above is just miscellaneous. No telling what's going to go up, what ends up in there. Again, moving forward, next to the small shelf that folds down, I have another opening which basically covers a lot of the gear that I keep in here. If I want to use it, as I said, in the morning for coffee or whatever, stove, some extra fuel, extra cups, my little coffee pot, and all this stuff is held in securely, both with the metal straps that I put on here and the door itself. The canopy, you can see that I have some drawers. These again are just some inexpensive plastic drawers that I picked up from Walmart. I hold them closed with these little bungee cords, and they may hold clothes, extra sporting gear, I've got some fishing reels in some of these areas, or some of these drawers, and just miscellaneous extra easy to take in and out storage. Opposite that entire wall of gear is my bed itself. It has a 4-inch foam mat or pad on it, mattress, and plenty of room for me. Actually, room for Jor too if he wants to. Though we usually put his little kettle, because he likes it, on the floor next to me. I want to take a few minutes and show you what I've got in the cab. There's not a whole lot. A lot of it is bolt-on. But let's start over here at the left side of the dash. I have secured my GPS, which actually is my Spot X communicator, and my cell phone, which I don't have in here right now, with these little brackets. They're on with suction cups, and I bought them on eBay, I believe it is, and they've worked well. And then in addition, on the dash, I do have a lot of stuff on here. I have a mount for my GoPro, a GoPro mount. I'm not going to be using that as much as I have been in the past. I'm moving that mount, or putting in another mount on my front bumper. I won't get the interference from the windshield. I have various types of communication gear. This is my CB radio, which is mounted right below the dash, and below that on the transmission hump is a first aid kit, which is velcroed to the truck so that it is stationary. In addition, on the cup holder, I have put a holder for some of my handheld radios. This particular one is a family service radio. And then, in addition, I have a ham radio, and also my Forest Service radio. The majority of my camera gear in this Pelican type case, and I just leave it on the passenger seat. It's very easy for me to get to, and no one's there except sometimes Jorah, and we just put a pad on it if that's the case. In the back seat is nothing built in special. It's just how I have everything set up. I keep that larger cook stove on the seat back there out of the way, and also Jorah has his little spot over here where he likes to lay. I use a small cooler while I travel, and I just put it on the floor of the front seat. It's usually cooler in here than it is in the back. The video has been helpful and answered some of the questions some of you have asked me in some of the comments and emails that I've received. As you can see, or I think you can see, that I have recorded this part of the video here at home in my carport. The wind is just roaring out there, and it'd just be way too noisy. I don't think you'd be able to hear a thing. So again, I hope you picked up some ideas you might like, and please join us as we continue to travel some of the backcountry roads, and also take this into some of the trailheads and begin some of the hikes this season in Arizona. Again, be careful out there and keep hiking.